founder of Save America Cinemas. Would you please welcome Mr. Walter Shaw?
Thank you, Jay. I'm so glad a lot of you came out. This is very important to my heart and to the filmmakers in this room. And I'd like to thank everybody here. This is known as Little Appalachian, better known as Save America Cinema. You know what I mean, Frank? But the reason I really care about this cause, and I'm only going to say a few words because we've got a bunch of people because we're backed up, is when you saw this little skit here about Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the famous Judy Garland movie, well, let's fast forward 50, 60 years. Could you imagine telling the kids in these communities they couldn't see that wonderful movie? And that's what we're in jeopardy of taking away from these kids in these communities, because if they take these theaters and close them, 3,100 left, 750 drive-in theaters besides this, then these kids in those communities will never see these great films, E.T. and so forth and so on. Even the stuff now. If you see James Bond's only on digital, the 007 that just came out with Craig. And if you see The Hoblet, or if you see Les Mis, it's on digital. There's no 35mm prints. They stopped making prints since December, and March they're really going to be gone. And some of the corporations that are here that I'm buying equipment from will have their say and tell you about this. This is what's going on right now. This is the last year of this. So there won't be these 3,100 magnificent theaters we grew up on. So that's why I started this cause. It was 9 weeks ago. I saw it in the USA Today. I called NATO, which is National Organization of Theater Owners, and I got involved. I've had 60 theater companies sign up to get help. That was just 9 weeks. And they grow every day. I get between 10 and 15, and I personally call each and every one of them that send me their request for help. I call them back, and I assure them we're going to save each and every one of them. Our organization wants to save at least 400. I don't know beyond that, because that's $20 million I have to raise and save to do that. Now, on the flip side of this coin, the studios and the different companies, if they wanted to, that's like commissary money to them. So it's unfortunate they've chose to just let it go at this point, and I'm not willing to let it go. There's no saying about some men have dreams and ask why. My father used to say, why not? When I got a hold of Texas Instruments used to make my dad's circuit boards for the conference call forwarding, and speakerphone and touch tone dialing. So Texas Instruments makes the chip that goes into these projectors. So that's how we got involved. And then they had me come to Show East and see what was going on. And then I got involved. I got to Show East. It was here this past 2 months ago at the Diplomat Hotel. I walked in, and all these banners were up saying, film is of the past. If you'd have seen what I saw, it'd be heartbreaking. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be able to save every one of these theaters in these communities for these kids. That we grew up on these films ourselves, and we grew up in these theaters ourselves across the nation. So that's how this came to be, and I'm not going to take up any more time than to say we got a full program. I've had actors that want to speak and say something. I got the theater owners, 6 of them that came in, that they want to say something and make the press aware of this cause. This is a very important cause. So I thank you for this. I'm sorry we got...
And there was a theater where I saw my first big movie was called Ben-Hur, and I saw it at the Fox Theater in Detroit City, which is on Jefferson Avenue. And it was a theater that was, I guess you would call it ornate, and by today's standards, it was, it sat probably, I don't know, 2,000 people, and it was a city block long. And you go see Ben-Hur there, you go see whatever first-run movies, Bullet, and I saw all those movies in this theater, and it was beautiful and elegant, these big, huge, like, columns, Greek columns. And they've torn that theater down now. I saw Diana Ross there. And, it's not unlike the Art Deco theaters here. It's part of our heritage, and it's part of my heritage was these big theaters. I saw movies. I saw The Deer Hunter on a screen bigger than that wall. Now you see movies on these little things, and it's just for a kid like me, the movie saved my life. The movies gave me dreams. They gave me the ability to dream, and my mother watered that plant of dreams, and those big, beautiful movie theaters were someplace I wanted to be on the screen and inside of them, and I don't think we could do anything more worthy than to preserve our young people's dreams. I mean, to be young and have dreams is very important, so thanks.
Debbie Mazur, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm honored to be asked by Walter to join you. Going to the movies for me was something that was a family experience. I would go with my grandmother, my parents, on a first date. I'm old enough to remember when we had the smoking section and the section for the children and the mothers for nursing. And you know, it's really a shame that we're losing these beautiful theaters, and we really have to get the money together to fix them up, to make them modern, because many of them are architecturally divine and should be protected. And I end up a lot of times watching movies on my laptop, and I hate it because you miss like everything. And so, you know, I just encourage everybody to spread the word, to donate, because these cinemas are, you know, they need the help. You know, it's a modern world. I mean, I look in New York and I see like Broadway. It used to be all trucking area, and now it's like an outdoor mall. I look at Times Square. I used to pay, I don't know, like $3, and I would see like a brilliant film with Cujo, you know, like a double feature, and it was in these incredible old theaters, you know, that have since, a lot of them have been torn down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Stallone is with us.
Thank you so much. Well, Walter, I want to thank you for having me here. Melissa, thank you for turning me on, and everyone to come here. I, too, grew up in the theaters. I saw the first run of Love Me Tender with Elvis, and being from Italian immigrant parents, they thought he was like a fanoke, because he had long hair and stuff. But I thought Elvis was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life. So my brother and I, we used to go to movie theaters. On Saturdays, your parents would drop you off at 11, and you'd be done by 4. There'd be movie tone, then there'd be 3, 4 cartoons and double features. And that went on our whole life. And I remember the theaters. I remember the Silver Theater. I remember in Philadelphia when I moved there in '58, they had the Goldman Theater. All Market Street was all these great, beautiful theaters. I mean, at nighttime, all the arrays, they were really gorgeous places. It was almost looked like Las Vegas. And we used to go in there, and they had the ushers with the red light. In those days, it was a different time. And I think it's so, so important, because it is, like Walter said, it's something that the film industry could really take care of in 1 second. And it's almost like they're killing their young. It's something they're taking away from something that is the heart and soul of the business. I've done 62 movies. I've done bad ones. I've done good ones. I've done in-between ones. But the thing is, it's so much fun to get up in the morning, get yourself ready, and go to work and do something. And hopefully, it'll go on the screen. I remember I had to convince my band when my brother was doing Rocky. He called me up. I was in Philadelphia. He said, "Yeah, do this movie." I said, "What?" "I'm doing a boxing movie, and I want you to write music." I don't know how to write music about boxing. I don't know, anything. So, and I forgot about it. And I got a call, picked up the yellow rotary phone in Trenton, New Jersey at that time, and he said, "Yeah, I'm doing a movie about boxing." He goes, "You want to be in it?" So he went down, we did Rocky, stood on the street corner, sang Take You Back, forgot about it. A year later, I'm walking down the street in New York City. I look at the Village Voice, and there's a picture of my brother with his arms up saying, "Is this the new James Dean or Brando?" I go, "What?" I forgot we even did the movie. Movie opened in 2 theaters, the Coronet and Baronet, 2 theaters. And from word of mouth, within a year was nominated for 10 Academy Awards. So it just shows the magic of film and the magic of word and mouth and the magic of hope and just keeping your eye, keeping your eye on things. So I think if people are out there and really want to get involved in this, I think this is really a cause that's really fun and worthwhile. And I want to thank Walter and everyone here, because I think this is going to be a really fun ride. I think it's going to go some great places, and I thank you for having me here.
Guy that has countless credits to his name and truly one of the fine actors of our business. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Vincent.
And I have the stories like everybody else has at the Cameo Theater and the State Theater and the Lowe's Theater and the Stanley Theater. And the Stanley Theater, they used to have the sky, and the clouds would move. And these are all independent little theaters in Jersey City, New Jersey. And we did the same thing every Saturday. My mother would drop us off with the kids, and we stay in the theater with the news and comics, and not Superman. What was the other guy who flew? Flash Gordon. I mean, all of that. And then on Wednesday, they gave away cups and dishes to people.
This is a terrific cause, and once again, I want everybody to spread the word, especially you, Tin Man. Get a hold of yourself. Clean, no marks. Again, thanks my associates for being here, and I want to thank Mr. Shaw. We've been friends for a long time, and this is a real terrific cause. So let's get behind it and make this happen. It really has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. Another one of my goombas that's always busting my chops. He calls me Dom DeLuise on Slim Fast. But you know what? As much as of a tough guy he wants to be, and as much of a, he truly, genuinely is just one big pussy. Ladies and gentlemen, Vincent Pastore.
There was a theater in New Rochelle, New York called the Town Theater. Remember, Chuck? And I was a young guy married, and my wife and I went to see a movie called Rocky, Frank Stallone. I looked at my wife and I said, I want to be an actor. And I too went on a Slim Fast diet, and I lost 50 pounds, and I wound up being in a play called South Pacific. Years later, I met a wonderful gentleman who had a band. I met him in a place called Hoops. His name is Frank Vincent, and he was playing with Joe Pesci on Sunday nights. And I was tending bar in a place called Peachtree's in New Rochelle, and my friend Kathy Moriarty used to hang out there, and she says, I'm making a movie. Okay, Kathy. We didn't believe her. With De Niro. Okay, Kathy. With Frank Vincent. Frank Vincent? Frankie's an actor now? Yeah, okay. So now, when Raging Bull comes out, I go back to the Town Theater, which was a little theater, 200 seats, and I see this wonderful movie. It was a little long, in black and white, and I saw Frank Vincent on the screen. And the reason why I'm talking about Frank is because I really never said this, and I think a couple times I say it, is Frank's my mentor, and the reason why I'm in the business is because of Frank. One night, I was sitting in my bar in New Rochelle with Matt Dillon and Kevin, and it was late, and we put a DVD on, and we were watching Pope of Greenwich Village. And the scene comes up where you took the guy's thumb, right, Frankie? And Matty said, you could do that. And Kevin got me in the business. Since then, I have worked with Frank in over maybe about 15 films, many television shows, including The Sopranos. So thank you, Walter, for getting this going. But it was very special for Frankie to call me up because, you know, this is, we got to save the theater. We're movie stars, you know, we're movie stars. And we're not gonna be called movie stars if we're not in the movies. You need a movie to star. So thank you, and here's Dom
Narducci, would you say a few words for us?
I have a childhood story. I grew up in New York City, so there were theaters all around me, and I always went, but I didn't have that small town theater. But currently, I am a die-hard independent film lover. But I just want to say that they're really important, and they have, independent films have really different stories that need to be told that you would not see in a big multiplex. And these theaters care and love about the movies that they show, I think. And it's a whole different experience in this kind of theater. You feel like you're going with, everyone is experiencing the same thing. It's like going to somebody's house when you go to one of these theaters, I feel. It's a more intimate thing, and they're important. We have to keep them around. Because they were important when, you know, when the big studios needed them and they weren't around. These are the theaters they did show the big movies in. And now they've moved on to big multiplex theaters where, you know, there's 25 films going on at one time, and they don't need the little guys anymore, and it's not fair, and I implore everybody to give whatever you can, and I don't know, keep supporting this cause. It's going to be
another paisan in the audience too, another fine actor as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Zito is with us. Chuck?
I just want to thank Walter for bringing me down here, and all my friends here, the fellow actors. I have the same couple of stories as everybody else. I remember going to the Bronx when I was a kid to the Whitestone Drive-In with my family. And then when we moved to Brooklyn, went to a few theaters out there. I remember, cost 50 cents for 2 feature films, 3 cartoons, and a newsreel. So that you don't get today anymore. But it's an important thing. I started as a stuntman in the movie business first before I became an actor. And I wound up getting the great show on HBO, Oz. And from there I went to other things. So to me, it's there's some great films out there, that, especially around the Christmas time, the old classics, like Ben-Hur and 10 Commandments, Miracle on 34th Street. That it's just classics. And that's what we're missing today. But I'm just great to be here. Everybody heard the stories already, so thank you very much. Thank you, Walter Shaw, for bringing me here. And it's a great cause, so whatever we could do to help, of course, we'll do it. Thank you.
Music, ladies and gentlemen, is a very big part of cinema. And we had a last-minute special guest who came in. Anybody remember the song, I Only Have Eyes for You, the Flamingos? Was probably in over a dozen films. He's with us today. Terry Johnson of the Flamingos, would you say a few words for us?
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Well, I can remember exactly what you guys were talking about. We would play the Apollo Theater. Remember New York? Brooklyn Fox, Brooklyn Paramount, 2 or 3 different films, cartoons, the newsreel. Man, that was the good days. And you were so right about, hearing, if you want to see something personal in the movie and you hear something boom, 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 the big sounds invading your hearing, I miss the good days, and I think that's a great idea of what you're doing. God bless you, man. If we can just keep it, not bring it back, but just keep what we have, I think we'll make a big difference. And to everybody in here who's for this, let's pull together and try to make it happen. Okay?
Thank you, Terry.
We'll get those back.
We have our representatives from Dolby here and Christie here. Can I have our representatives from Christie come on up here? And our friends from Dolby. Because, ladies and gentlemen, without them, we wouldn't have the technology. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today. Give them a big hand. I want to introduce you guys. Who do we have here?
George Shekel.
And?
Scott McCullum.
And you're both with Christie.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about, for those in the room that might not be familiar, what does Christie do?
Christie is a manufacturing company, and we have many business units, but one of the things we've done from a legacy perspective is we used to make film projectors. So we have a legacy in the film projector business. We had to reinvent ourselves, too, so we understand some things do change, and we had to figure out what do we do when film projectors can't be sold any longer. We also helped to launch the first conversion of digital cinema in 2005 after a number of years of prototype systems and making sure that the industry was in a position to standardize so you could take an independent film and an independent theater owner and present them with something similar to the universality of film. So we've been spending a lot of time on that, and we launched the first 4,000 screen footprint in the US along with some other business associates. And then last but not least, we're looking at the future, the things that we need to do from a longevity perspective and make sure that everything that we do is focused on helping the cinema industry to not only maintain its current state, but also to grow and to take advantage of some of the technologies, because there's some really amazing things that we're able to do. But the first focus is to make sure that everybody gets to play along, and that's what we've been doing.
Beautiful. And of course, we're all familiar with Dolby Sound, and without great sound in a movie, it's like watching paint dry. So our hats off to you at Dolby, and tell us about your involvement in this project.
Thank you. Yeah, because it's 50% of the experience. Obviously, as you know, Dolby's been synonymous in the industry for over 40 years now. These independent theaters have probably already got our products in there. And as time has moved on, obviously, we've gone from Dolby Stereo to Dolby Digital to 5.1 to 7.1, Dolby 3D. So much like Christie, we've had to adapt with the technology and the progress that unfortunately, some people can't do as a big company like us can. So I'm here on behalf of Dolby just to do whatever we can to help these people stay in business, help everyday people go to the movie theater, have a great experience, because it's something I did. I left college and went straight to working as a projectionist at a movie theater in a little town called Manchester in England. And I've been fortunate enough to make it to where I am today and represent a great company like Dolby for a great cause like Save America Cinemas. Thank you, Walter, for letting us participate in this. And congratulations. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to Dolby and to Christy. Sal Richards is here. Where's Sal? One of the funniest men in the industry. Come on up here, Sal.
No, I've done some motion pictures, but my forte, as you know, is an entertainer and a comedian, and I've headlined Vegas and Atlantic City. But movies have been my life forever since I was a kid. Now, you guys paid a quarter. I'm going to give my age away here. I paid 14 cents when I was a kid. I used to go to the Rivoli Theater and the Parthenon Theater and the Madison Theater in Ridgewood, Brooklyn. And that's where I used to go. There's somebody here from Ridgewood. That's why I moved. But again, it's a pleasure and an honor to be amongst all you guys. I've known you for a long time. And Vinny, I remember when you were an extra in a movie I co-starred in, and look at you now, Out for Justice with Steven Seagal. And that's when we first met, when I first met Vinny. So I congratulate all you guys here for becoming the stars that you are today. And I only hope someday when I grow up, I can be like you.
Walter, can we get you gentlemen in? Let's get a group shot with everyone, please.
Now, you heard what Christy said. They support this cause, and they're going to stand behind it. So, is that correct?
I'm on record.
Okay, I got you on camera. All right, because I know where you live,
That's it, Walter. The winner in here. You want to do one without the Wizard of Oz?